John, and here I am today on my first special since we had our beginning of our Patreon campaign, and I'm here to talk about a subject that I've been asked before, and I thought I'd make a kind of a short video about it, and kind of talk to you a little bit about, with the beginning of con season coming on, that I thought it would be a great time to talk about how not to suck at traveling with your minis. So before we get going, I want to dedicate this video to one of the brush heads that donated on the Patreon. And this one goes out to Brett Painter, who was a huge person at the beginning of the Painting with Menoth John show. And I want to dedicate this to him. So, hey, Ron! So, a few topics that I want to talk about on how not to suck at traveling with your minis is it's not as straightforward sometimes as it may seem. I mean, obviously you need to have a good sturdy bag, and you need to have good foam to put your minis in, and we all know about that. But what I want to talk to you about are some of the ways that you can pack your bag so that you won't end up with broken stuff at the other end. So first and foremost, number one, toilet paper is your friend. Now, as you can see here with these minis, you have a lot of different cells in each of the different foams that you have here, and this is battle foam, and even within the battle foam, you can see they can still certainly move around quite a bit. So what my secret to this is, use toilet paper. Toilet paper is your friend, and the way that you want to do it, and I will demonstrate for you, is you'll be wanting to take a couple individual sheets of toilet paper and stick them in the cell with the actual miniature. And what that does is that helps cushion them and keeps them from moving around, because what destroys a miniature inside foam more times than not is movement. And that's where you get pieces dropping off, and it's where you'll also end up with getting your paint scratched. So number one, toilet paper is your friend. Number two, you want to make sure that you've got, like I said, a good sturdy bag. And the most important thing to remember is never, ever, ever check your miniatures as luggage. It just won't work. And you will end up with a person who's getting ready to do the American Tourister thing on your bag, and before you know it, your miniatures are being thrown as a football out on the tarmac. So you don't want that. Never do this. And if you buy a bag, make sure that you're buying a bag that will fit in the overhead luggage area as a carry-on. Now that means you're going to be a little bit strategic. You're going to want to make sure that when you do your carry-ons, you're going to want to check most of your clothes and stuff like that in its own bag, and you're going to miniatures as your main carry-on, and then you can always have a backpack or something else like that. So those are the two tips as far as what you should do before you actually get going. The other thing that you really need to make sure that you bring with you is a repair kit. Now, the tips I'm going to give you here are going to hopefully help keep your miniatures from getting all busted up. But on the outside chance that they do get busted up, you want to be able to repair them when you get to the convention. So the types of items that you want to have in your bag with you is you want to have some green stuff. You want to have super glue. It's good to bring a file with, just in case maybe there's a bright shiny at the store that you want to buy and you want to put it together and you need something to take mold lines off. It also can be very helpful if something breaks, that you can score the joint and make sure that you get a really good bond with your super glue and things like that. So make sure you've got that. Clippers can be very helpful if something breaks and you need to get, maybe you used the old green stuff glue type technique to put things together. Clippers can be helpful to cut the green stuff back out if you've used some to get down into the joints. So I would really highly recommend that. Bringing a repair kit is absolutely crucial as far as things that you're going to bring with you and how not to suck when you are taking your minis on the road. So the other thing is also check to make sure that your bag will fit. So the way that you do that is, I mean, Battle Foams, their bag is sized properly for overheads on major carriers. The exception to this, and the thing you've got to watch out for, is as you're planning your trip to whatever convention you're going to, make sure that you're not going to be ending up on puddle jumpers. If at all possible, anything that's smaller than like a 737 is probably going to have some difficulty fitting a normal-sized Army transport bag, like the Battle Foam bag or some of the Sable products. So Also KR multi-case. So make sure that you're checking the dimensions of your bag. As I said, I know the battle foams that I've used have always worked out pretty well. The other thing is, when you go through security, it's really important that you understand kind of what they're looking for. Now, when you go through security with a bag full of miniatures, you're going to get eyebrows raised. There's no questions about it. So the best thing that you can do is be nonchalant about it and simply look at the TSA agent or whoever the security person is and say that you've got their figurines or that they're toy soldiers. Toy soldiers is probably one of the best things you can call them, because what I found is an awful lot of the TSA agents will sometimes kind of take a shine to the fact that you're playing a miniatures game. I've run into quite a few that have played Warhammer, and if you say War Machine, they may even want to open up a bag just to see what they look like. But what you will want to say is if they do decide that they want to inspect the bag, you ask them very politely, and you say, they are very fragile, and if it would be at all possible, you're happy to let them search the bag, but if you could unpack the bag for them while they're watching, and make sure that you're very courteous through all this, because courtesy is 100% of the battle here, guys. If you're nice to TSA, they will be good to you. There are very few of them in my experience, and I travel pretty much for a living, that are just genuinely bad people. So I say, hey, Ron, to all the TSA agents out there, and just be courteous to them. One thing to watch out for is never, ever, ever call them hollow, or that they are hollow figurines, because if they're hollow, then they have, I don't know if it's a keyword for them or what the deal is, but immediately they feel like that there might be something inside of them. And you know that they're hollow, and I know that they're hollow, but they don't necessarily know that. And I would say just put them out there and call them toy soldiers, and then they won't want to take a hammer and break it in half to see how hollow it is. So I have actually heard stories, I don't know if they're urban legend or what they are, of security agents actually breaking miniatures in order to make sure there's nothing inside of them. So you don't want that. 10 times out of 10, that is not the repair job that you want to have to do when you get to your convention. So now we're through security, and now actually comes one of the most critical parts of the trip, and that is you are going to be going onto a plane where there's limited storage space, and you have your very expensive, very precious to you bag of miniatures that is precious to absolutely nobody but you. So here's how to get good and not to suck when you get to the gate. So number one thing here is to make nice with the gate agent. So when you walk up, the best thing you can do, after things kind of calm down, you don't want to do it when there's like a long line of people at the gate desk, but walk up to them and say, hey, I've got some really fragile, one-of-a-kind, hand-painted miniatures that that are very fragile, and I would appreciate your help in talking with the flight attendants to see if I could get them placed in the forward closet. Now, the reason you want to do this with the gate agent is, one, is it establishes a relationship with the gate agent, so that if your bag is just a tiny little bit outside of the normal parameters, that they will not like make you jam it down into the little measurement thing, and you won't end up having to, if it's a little bit out, you probably won't have to check it as luggage, because that's bad times, and we already talked about that. Now, the next thing to do is, once you get up to the plane, the first thing you do when you see that flight attendant in front of you is you ask them, excuse me, may I please place this bag, which contains hand-painted fragile miniatures. They're one of a kind, and of course they're one of a kind because they're yours. So if I could put them in the forward closet, those are the key words, forward closet. And if they have a forward closet, most times I've found that the flight attendant is more than happy to let you put them in there. Also, one thing you might mention to the gate agent is, I have these things, could I pre-board with them? And if they are, perhaps they'll let you go on with the pre-boards. So once again, courtesy, deference. If they deny you that, you don't get hot underneath the collar. You just say, thank you, I appreciate it, and you walk away. And then when you get on the plane, The obviously, you if they put it in the forward closet, you're in like Flynn, no problems, because then you have nothing but really coats that could possibly go on top of it. Now, if you're back in steerage with the rest of the folks in third class, then you put this up in the luggage area. My experience is that a bag that fits in that rack will easily fit into the overhead. So get it up in there and then put your backpack or whatever at your feet. And I'll tell you what, if you can get to the point where you have that bag up into the overhead storage compartment, you're in like Flynn, no problems. You will have good, safe miniatures that don't need repair when you get to the other side. You've remembered to do your toilet paper when you go in there. And I'm going to show some of that toilet paper stuffing, as you should have already seen it. If I'm learning how to do editing on these things, so hopefully it won't suck. And you'll be in a good place. So I hope these tips have been helpful. We've got a great con season coming up. As you know, I'm going to be at SmogCon coming up in February, and then Adepticon in Chicago, and then also, of course, War Machine Weekend. Hopefully to lock and load, hard to say, but I hope to see each and every one of you at these cons, especially the patrons. And if you're haven't supported the show, consider getting over to www.patreon.com/menoffjohn and put a little tip in the tip jar. I would certainly appreciate it. So to all of you out there, one last time, we're going to bust out a little bit of the Mount Gay run to all of you watchers. I hope this video has been instructive, and hey, Ron! Good night, everybody.